$50,000 from the annual budget. That's all we have. So this means that the design of the natural playground, the meditation circle, and anything west of Philly Pond remains unfinished. Citizens and businesses who generously donated over $90,000 to support Philly Park are wondering, what is going on? This is unfortunate, as the rebirth of Philly Park has created a sense of pride and joy in our town that is unprecedented. This includes our BHS student volunteers, the Philly Park ambassadors, who keep asking us, how can we help? What can we do? Today, the Philly Park Committee asks the Town Council to make Philly Park a top priority in 2020. We respectfully request funding come from the Capital Improvement Program to not just redo a parking lot, but build the playground, create the meditation circle, and restore and maintain the trail system. So asking that let 2020 be the year that we reopen Philly Park. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Bradley Klein, live at 82 Tarrafville Road, Bloomfield here. I just want to remind people that we lost a friend over the weekend to the town. Pete Dye, great golf course architect, who donated his time and his services to the town, passed away on Friday at the age of 94. And I would just like to read a paragraph from a book that I wrote that documents, among other things, what Pete meant to the town. It's hard to think about this as having taken place 24 years ago. When some of us had more hair and the hair was darker color, and I wasn't thinking about senior discounts. The first time Dye came to town in September, this is a world-class, one of the most famous golf course architect in the world, and he came to town, we paid him $1, and we saved $999,000 in the process. The first time Dye came to town in September 1995, he mesmerized local officials with his down-home Midwestern aw shucks attitude. Dressed in his typical white polo shirt, khaki slacks, and waders, he spent a full morning traipsing through a mucky site that looked promising for golf, but that also served as an Army Corps of Engineers flood control site. This was the first site we had looked at. He emerged from the trek with his khakis muddied and his pet dog 60, he named him after how much he paid for the dog, with his pet dog 60, who he always brought along for such walks, wet, filthy, and apparently flecked with ticks. As various town officials, including the mayor, city manager, and some members of the town council gathered around Dye to solicit his impression of his walkthrough, he got down on the ground to pull ticks off 60, all the while keeping up a running conversation about the site without losing count of the arachnids he pulled off. 24, 25, 26. That was Pete, and we thank him.
Thank you. Thank you. Pete Council?
Good night, everyone. It's my first time here. Not really nervous, but kind of nervous. I'm here because I have a concern. Oh, sorry, it's my first time. It's 91 East Burnham Street, Bloomfield. So I'm here because I am really concerned about two things. The new soccer field and the basketball court on, over Rockville. And my concern about the basketball court at Rockville, nowadays it's just keep being just patch over. And I'm wondering, why can't we have a real basketball court that been, other than patching and wasting money, just get a real basketball field done with lights. And for the soccer field, I love to see what's going on pertaining to the soccer field, and I appreciate everything that is going on right now. But is there any reason why we can't get some lights for the soccer field? For the council to pass something forward to get lights over there? Those are my two concerns in Bloomfield right now.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Jane Adalpine?
Hi, Jane Nadell Klein, 82 Terriffill Road. I wasn't actually planning to speak, but then I heard Roseanne speak about Philly Park, and I wanted to stand in support of what she and Jim are doing. I was on the original Philly Park committee, and I stayed on it for a few years and then left with a certain sense of frustration. We are now, as she pointed out, in 2020, that is 12 years after the start of the planning for this process, and there we are with pieces done, pieces undone, not a really usable site. We've seen the success of the golf course of Wintonberry. We've seen what it can do for the town in bringing people together and providing open space, and there is no reason on earth why we shouldn't have a functioning park, one that used to be a true central public space, open space for people to gather right near the center of town. It seems to me absolutely absurd that it's taken so long to get this done, so I'm hoping that we can move forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Lawrence?
I'm Garfield Houghton, 8 Arlington Road in Bloomfield. I'm kind of a bit nervous. I'm here to talk about the soccer field. I'm the president of Bloomfield Junior Soccer, and I've been with the kids since 2001. 19 years now I've been working with the kids in Bloomfield for the soccer program. Now advocating for lights for the soccer field. I've been out there. We currently now practice in the summer and springtime. We practice in the back of Medicomet school right now. So we have to use like portable light most of the time, which does shine. When the light is on, it does shine a certain direction. So the kids, you see the shadow of the kids, so the kids can't get to practice like in the fall time, because the field get dark by 4:30 in the fall. So when the fall comes, the kids can't get to practice. We currently have, in any given season, we have like over 200 to 300 small kids practicing out on the field, and we don't really want the kids to get hurt. So I'm asking you guys, please, if you can advocate to get some lights on the new soccer field, so we can look like the other towns. Other towns go play. All the other towns have nice lights, nice field, have bathroom, have everything, concession stand and everything. And we in Bloomfield, we must advocate for our kids to have the same as go to other towns as in Bloomfield as other towns. So please, if you guys could do something about the lights on the field, that would be greatly appreciated.
Madam Mayor, I just have a question.
Curtin.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Garfield, thank you very much. I know you well because, my kids went through your soccer program. They're still involved in the program. And that was one of my concerns as a parent with those portable generators that you guys move around. I mean, it's the fumes that comes out of that. It's not healthy for the kids. So how many of those little portable generators do you guys have, and how often do you service those, and who owns it, by the way?
Well, I think the Park and Rec owners out of town own those portable, and they have it loaned to us. The Park and Rec owners. And the fume, I kind of concern myself with the fume, because somebody out there can say it's the fume, because I use diesel oil in those generators, so those fumes is very bad. That's very bad for the kids at times too. So I was concerned about it. I use those generators.
And this was a major concern of mine when we were going into the soccer field. We have a really new soccer field, but no lights. Didn't make any sense. Poor planning on our part. But thank you for advocating for those kids. And thank you for all that you do for that. Thank you. All right.
Thank you very much. I know that you mentioned the pergolas at the field behind Medicomet,
So I'm going to ask India to make special note of that as well, because I did get a couple complaints about those portalets as well. Is there any more citizen statements? India?
Not to.
We're going to go to subcommittee, community service. Councilor Long.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have anything to report as we haven't met as a committee quite yet. The first meeting is on February 11th this year. Just a couple quick comments though, because as of late, this committee has really been a report out structure, and I'm looking to significantly adjust that quite a bit and make it more of a working committee. I think we can achieve this. We already adjusted the schedule and meet bi-weekly and, bi-monthly. And I'm just looking to kind of start developing some really exciting ideas and introducing them into the group. So just wanted to make those quick comments there. And again, our first meeting is the 11th of February. Thank you.
Admin education.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have much to report from admin education, but a couple highlights. 330 Park, the building, as everyone knows, is up and running. The soccer field that was mentioned tonight, hopefully in early spring we'll start to see grass and stuff grow and so on in development there. We had discussion regarding the Vincent property. There's a property that's donated to the town, the Vincent property, and there's a current tax of $15,000 that's currently on the books that, Mr. Malesko came to the admin education meeting so the town could forego that taxes and assume the property. That's on the agenda tonight for a vote. There was also a discussion in regards to a meeting with the Board of Ed to discuss the upcoming budget. I know both the mayor and town manager met with the Board of Ed today, and hopefully we'll get a report from the town manager on that meeting. There was also discussion in regards to the appointment of the town attorney. We did move it tonight to discuss that, and we'll have a discussion tonight whether we move forward with an RFQ or we continue with the current town attorney. And that's it for admin education. In regards to finance, we talked about multiple things, but just a couple of highlights. Currently, our budget process will start in March, Thursday, March 12th through Monday, May 4th. We have discussion about the current library and the project, how we should move forward. I know there were discussions in regards to going forward this year with a referendum. Currently, right now, we don't have that capacity to move forward with any bonding. That's going to take place in 2023. We had discussion about why not wait and hold off until a referendum until 2022. That's also an election year, so hopefully, the committee and the council will have discussion on how we should move forward with that item. The other item on the agenda was the discussion in regards to the town treasurer and the costs associated with the appointment of the town treasurer. And I think the cost was roughly around $700. I know the December council meeting, one of my colleagues brought up some concern around that. The cost is roughly around $700. There was also discussions about whether or not we should have preliminary discussions with various departments in regards to the budget. And I know the town manager is setting up some of those. So the council, instead of going through the budget process, will have an opportunity to sit in a more informal situation with town staff to discuss their various needs in the various departments within the town. And that's the end of my report, Madam Mayor.
Public safety.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Public Safety met tonight at 6:30 before this meeting. I have a very short report. We actually had the year-end figures and the crime totals for the year in Bloomfield are down 2% for the year, so that's always good news, 17% month over month. Obviously, a lot of the town activity deals with parking ordinances, so we went through some of those. Obviously, there was some time spent on the Capaco shooting, the incident that happened on 12/29, I think. It was an isolated incident, but shots were fired at Capaco, and the police department actually knows pretty much who the people involved were, but they're having trouble with getting charges pressed, so we will see how that works out. They are also working on a series of armed robberies, the most recent of which was at the Stop and Go convenience store over on Blue Hills Avenue. The fire districts reported their year-end numbers. There were 552 incidents for the Center Fire District, and there were 504 incidents for the Blue Hills Fire District. We didn't get the year-over-year total for Center, but the Blue Hills Fire District, that was down about 10% from last year. Keep in mind, those are incidents for the fire district, and a lot of those are not fires, but are false alarms, especially with carbon monoxide detectors and smoke alarms. One other thing I do want to mention, we don't have a date yet, but the Chief Jones at the Blue Hills Fire Department mentioned that they are going to be having an open house sometime this spring, and we will keep you informed on that, for volunteers to hopefully convince some people to come out and volunteer for the Blue Hills Fire Department, which is always a very worthy thing if you're interested. So that ends my report. Thank you.
Committee on committees?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Committee on Committees has not met since December 9th, which we had a full meeting. We will be having a conflict with two other scheduled meetings for the 21st, because generally our meetings are on Monday, but this Monday coming is the MLK holiday, which this facility will be closed, which postpones our meeting to a later date, which will happen in February. So at the moment, I do not have any additional comments for Committee on Committees. But what I will say is I'm encouraging everyone to come out and participate and be involved on particular committees that involve what's going on in the town. And I thank you.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
If someone was interested in serving on a particular committee, how would they?
How would they go about doing that? There are some certain specific committees that are appointed by the mayor, and there are certain specific committees that you would have online. There's an application of interest, and you can send that to myself. My email is scalhoun@bloomfieldct.org, or one of our committee members that are listed here on our town website.
Thank you. Land Use and Economic Development?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Land Use and Economic Development Committee did not meet in December due to a storm event, winter storm event. We were rescheduled for next Tuesday, the 21st, but that also has gotten bumped, as was just mentioned, Monday being a holiday. So it will be Wednesday, the 22nd, will be the next meeting of the Land Use and Economic Development Committee. Thank you.
Council Old Business 1718-69. I'm sorry. 1718-69, consider and take action regarding donation of land to the town of Bloomfield, the Vincent property. Is there a motion?
Madam Mayor, before the motion, could Mr. Malesko explain to the full council and the public what this is all about, please? Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. For those in the audience, my name is David Malesko. I'm the Director of Leisure Services here in town. This piece of property, the Vincent property, is adjacent to Wittenberry Hills Golf Course. It's off of Beacon Road Complex. It specifically borders the fifth hole of Wittenberry Hills Golf Course. The Vincent family approached the town some time ago about donating this property to the town. The adjacent properties are currently either have been acquired or in the process of being acquired by the Wittenberry Land Trust. In addition to the golf course, it borders Reservoir 3 on Tungus Avenue. So there's great value in this property for the town. Specifically, when the golf course was being constructed, one of the topics that was being discussed was a walking trail path around the golf course. And if we were able to move forward with this parcel of land, this makes us that one step closer into being able to make those connections. In addition to that connection, it's a connection into Reservoir 3, potentially has connections going across Terry Plains and into Lassalette Park and into the town center as well. So it's a larger scale connection than just the small parcel it is. It's moving forward and acquiring the pieces of property in order to move forward with this.
Thank
Is there any
you.
question?
Is there a motion on the floor?
Madam Mayor, I will be happy to...
Yeah, but there is a tax payment, I think, outstanding taxes relating to this.
That's correct. There is an outstanding taxes in the amount of $15,083 to the town and an additional $638.59 to the Center Fire District. I have since been in discussion, as well as the town manager, with the commissioners of Center Fire, and Center Fire will move forward, as been discussed with us, that they would move forward with whatever the avenue that the council proceeds with.
Is there a motion on the floor?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes. Resolve that the town abate the outstanding real estate property tax in the approximate amount of $15,083.14 concerning unique parcel number R04839, currently owned by the Vincent and Miller families, in consideration of the donation of the parcel to the town by the owners.
Is there a second?
Madam Mayor, I'm a little confused. That was the resolution, but I don't think there's a motion to move ahead and accept the 15,000, so I don't think it's in order. I don't see a motion next to...
No, this is a resolution to abate the taxes.
Right.
The town is, we've already moved to accept the property. That happened in a previous council meeting last year. And, yes.
We now have to vote to abate the taxes, so that's what we're doing now.
And that was the recommendation that came out, I think, in a unanimous vote from the admin and education.
Correct. So is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries unanimously. 1819-64, consider and take action regarding town-owned lot 64-1012, 93 East Morningside. I'm going to ask the town manager to give us some background on that before we vote.
Thank you, Mayor. We've been working with the area Habitat for Humanity for some time now, and this is a piece of property that has been discussed. It's got a fairly long history. It's been through TPZ and received positive recommendation. Habitat for Humanity has been working to try and acquire this property so that they can move forward with a rehabilitation project, and this would facilitate that so that they can move forward.
Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved. Second.
Can we read
The motion is to move the transfer lot 64-1012, located at 93 Morningside Street, to the Habitat for Humanity.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries unanimously. 1920-25, consider and take action regarding appointment of the town attorney. I'm going to ask Councilor Curtin to speak to the motion.
I will move ahead with the motion and hopefully open it for discussion. I move to approve the request for qualification and commencement of selection process for town attorney for the town of Bloomfield.
Is there a second?
I second.
Discussion?
Yeah, Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this item here in regards to the town attorney, it's very interesting. Back in 2017, when this council came into office, there was a mandate by most of the members on this diocese to have a change in town attorney. We went through a rigorous process in trying to come up with an RFQ, RFP. We finally went ahead with that in I think, in March of 2019, and going through an RFP. Just backtrack to that, in December of 2018, we had discussion in admin education. I have here, just for the record, the minutes from that meeting for our council clerk. For the record, that we should just go ahead and stop the process, because at that point we were going through and selecting a new town manager. Members of the Admin Education Committee insist, and they amended the motion to go ahead and start the process in March of 2019. Myself and other members of this committee have received numerous emails and communication from members of the town concerning their concern about this town attorney being in office for the last 28 years. When I came in, I stuck to my guns. It was what is in the best interest of the town. I didn't feel back then there was any reason to go ahead and make both changes at the same time. I support the RFQ to go forward with this process, but it seems like we had a change in heart of a lot of members on the Admin Education Committee and now in the council. The folks who were in big support of our current town attorney are now big supporters, so I'm happy that they can now see the light that I've seen for the first 2 years when I came into office. So hopefully those members can explain tonight their position and why they support our town attorney, and whatever decision is made, we can move forward with that.
Any further discussion? Yes.
Councilman Curtin laid out his story of the town attorney situation. It's our third year in office. The first year, yes, we were looking to see what needed to be changed in this town. We looked at both the town attorney, and the town manager later told us he was leaving, and that changed the focus. During that time, we had more opportunity to work with the town attorney, and he's, to my understanding, has never failed to live up to his obligations and provide the town with appropriate information. The fact that he's been here for a number of years should not be an indication that he's not worthy of staying on. To my understanding, this is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. There may be difficulties people have with different people at different times, but that's the role of the town attorney. He's not out there to please everybody. And we learned that the hard way when we first came in. So I oppose the motion because I think I'm not convinced that we need to change horses at this point in this particular position. I think it's also appropriate that this current town attorney, who has many years in office, who has a great deal of corporate intelligence and memory as to what's gone on in this town, why it's gone on, and all that other information, would be of great value to our new town manager, who would be scratching the surface with a new town attorney. They'd have to do a lot more research to find out some of those answers that could be right on someone's fingertips. I spent several months last year, and as the Councilman Curtin pointed out, going over resumes, looking at and interviewing different law firms and individuals who were interested in this position. And after that process, this entire group came up with the feeling that what we had was okay. I don't know why it's changed right now, and I believe we have more important issues to deal with in this town, things like the schools, blight conditions, moving forward on our tax increment financing for economic development and job development in this town, hopefully doing something with Philly Pond, and I'm sure there are many that I missed. So for us to spend that much time on this, I'm just not convinced we need to do it at this point, so I vote against.
We weren't voting yet, we were just...
Okay, I would vote against.
Any other discussion? Yes.
As one who has been around longer than the town attorney, I can remember when he came on board, and for years I thought I was at least, one of his worst adversaries, because I felt he had conflicts of interest and he was a vicious defender of another party that I wasn't a member of, and he also was involved with it. But over the years, having opposed him, you begin to respect somebody who does a good job. And basically, most of the people who have arguments with him are the ones who have opposed the town council's stand on issues. And whatever that council was, he defended. That's his job. That's what lawyers do. And he did it very well, and so effectively that the people on the other side really don't like him. And some of that hangs on over the years. It's one of those jobs where you do make enemies as you go. But I can remember his cross-examining while I was on the stand once trying to defend Bloomfield Early Learning, and he was the attorney and I was the other way. And so it's been very interesting history with him. But in the last year, I think people have become to appreciate our last town manager, Phil Shank, who had been through many town attorneys in his 30-something years of history in Avon and here, said he's the best town attorney I've ever seen. He really is effective. He responds right away, and we found that other town attorneys don't. He gives us answers. He is very effective. If you look at what we're paying for things, it's always less than we could have if he hadn't been involved as a town. So he saved us a lot of money over the years. I am against, we went through this process a year ago. It makes no sense to me that we should go through it again. He came out with flying colors as the winner of the last request for quote, and I just don't see there's any point in pursuing this. Thank you.
So I will just piggyback a bit on the process, because I agree. I think that one of the things that I'm proudest of when I joined the council in 2017 is that we did change the process so that we did not just come in and appoint a town attorney based on their political leanings or association with a party or something like that. We went through a thorough RFP, and so what I wanted to point out here were just a few notes I wrote down. It's been pointed out the appointment process wasn't completed until late May of 2019. That's about 6 months ago. What has changed in 6 months to justify the expense, money, time, and as Deputy Mayor Mann pointed out, council focus in particular of doing this again now? Bloomfield also has a new town manager. And while I'm sure that Manager Smith can work with whatever situation he has dealt, that's why we hired him, changing attorneys at this point is certainly more detrimental than helpful. Prior town attorney RFP process, as pointed out by Deputy Mayor Mann, was eminently successful, and Councilor Merritt also pointed out this. The position was awarded based on the facts and the qualifications. What the various finalists provided, their records, their anticipated costs. Nothing new is being requested now, and we just did this. I would note in May, when the current town attorney was reappointed, from the minutes, Councilor Curtin noted that, quote, the search process, quote, reaffirmed the value of the current town attorney. So we have that on record. So while I strongly support transparency in all decisions, I don't support redundancy. The council does not have to revisit recent decisions again simply because it has started a new term. We should move forward with the existing town attorney, who all members of all those members who are still on the council from the vote in May 2019 supported. So I simply don't see the point of going through an RFP process again at this time.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A couple of things, a little different perspective that I see here as far as the root cause for this RFP. I don't necessarily think the RFP is for or against the current attorney, but I do want to raise some issues that were raised to me as a concern, including a succession plan and a transition plan that we currently don't have, and a more important issue that's been brought up as far as diversity and the use of minorities for some of these legal services. I don't feel wholeheartedly that the RFP will address those and solve those. I have recommended to several members of this council to look into a deputy town attorney situation. Additionally, we would need to flesh out and do some additional due diligence and understand the financial impact if we were to go that route. So I just wanted to put some of those thoughts out there as we discuss some things that were maybe aligned in the previous term in which I wasn't a part of. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, can I just have a follow-up? Because once again, we live in an atmosphere where, story keeps changing, and we'll tell voters whatever they want to hear. When some of my colleagues came into office back in 2017, they came with a mandate not just to change the town attorney, but the town attorney that was in office at that time, and that's Mr. Needleman, and it had nothing to do whether or not he was performing, because the town manager at that time, Mr. Shank, told us that he was good at his job. And staff also expressed to us how good he was at his job, and none of us up here had anything else but to say we need to replace him. So I am fine with moving forward with the town attorney. I just want the public to know that you don't need to send me emails saying that I'm the one that's trying to keep the town attorney in place. We can now divert some of those emails to members on this council who's been walking around in public saying that myself and the mayor is basically trying to keep the current town attorney. We have to be honest with what we say up here and don't try to change the story. But I'm happy that we're going ahead and keep the current town attorney.
We're going to take a vote. We're going to take a vote. Is there any more discussion? Okay. So the motion that was moved and seconded was to move to approve the request for qualifications and commence the selection process for a town attorney for the town of Bloomfield. All in favor? All in favor? So I'm all for an open process. I don't know if that was supposed to be during my I don't know if that was supposed to be during the discussion phase.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm the appearance of a discord. I'm all in favor of an open process. So I just want that to be on record. Okay. I just wanted to put that on record. So, yeah.
Madam Mayor, I just want to go on record to say that I will be voting against this. My vote will be no tonight to suspend this process, not because of Mr. Needleman, but because of the dishonesty about the RFQ process.
Okay.
The town elects us every 2 years. There's a lot of money involved, so I don't think that's an excuse.
Okay,
so my vote is no.
Okay, so all in favor? All those opposed? All right.
And one no.
Can I get an alternative motion?
Right, so you're voting, everybody, I'm just trying to figure out, your vote is...
To continue with our RFP process.
Okay, so you're voting to continue the RFP process. Stephanie?
Continue with the RFP process.
Patrick?
Do not continue with the RFQ.
Danielle? David?
No, continue.
Francis?
Do not continue.
Kevin?
Do not continue.
Joe?
Do not continue.
Okay, and I would say open the process and continue. Yes. So the motion has been voted down.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to introduce an alternate motion. Move to appoint Attorney Mark Needleman and Associates as a town attorney with the term ending November 25th, 2021. With the appointment, we ask Attorney Needleman to make every effort to engage in his office an associate lawyer or deputy dedicated to the town of Bloomfield business for redundancy and succession planning. We also ask that, in so doing, he consider the diversity of his team.
Oh, I'll second.
Do what?
Oh, good.
Go ahead. I said we could have
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I mean, not that I'm opposed to that, but that's an awful lot in a motion that, I would think that the motion should just be to appoint Attorney Needleman as the town attorney for the term expiring in November 2021, and that we take up those other items in subcommittee and work then separately with Mr. Needleman.
I would be happy to accept that as a friendly amendment. I was trying to respond to some of the issues that had been discussed.
Which I agree, I wrote them down, so, Councilor Wong, so that was good.
So can I just ask a question? So if we're going to appoint, right, how do we then tell the appointee after we've appointed how to function?
I think there's an, oh, I'm sorry.
And I'm asking the question because I know that Councilor Wong is advocating for a deputy town attorney. So how do we...
That's not a
Madam Mayor, could I just chime in for it?
Hold on, let someone else that hasn't spoken.
Can I just chime in for a second? I think to be frank, the motion should be is to refer this back to committee. We need to discuss the actual current town attorney fee, so it could be a fee that we all can negotiate. And we can talk about whether or not we want to go ahead with a deputy town attorney. There's no rush in reappointing the town attorney tonight.
It's for a 2-year term. In terms of the fees, rates, whatever, that's part of the budget process. We determine in our budget
Between the two of them. And if there's a negotiating factor, it should be with the counselors as a full council and not just with the one person. So I question whether or not
Was to
New business, consider and take action regarding adoption of schedule for the budgets. I believe everyone has that in there. Looking at previous schedules.
I think this is the revised, yeah.
Okay, so all in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 1920-33, consider and take action.
Cell phone is going to be how we conduct
Make, it ought to be metrics. I was thinking, when we build a new library, we ought to, this is going to be around for 50 years, so we ought to keep in mind that goal. And some of these things just take a long time, and we need to keep pressing on them. And like the goals that Martin Luther King set for us, I think we need to do the same thing environmentally, or if we really want to keep this world going the way we know it. Thank you.
Councilor Calhoun.
Again, I would like to thank those that have come out for coming and staying for the length and time that you're here. I would like to thank those that are watching on our public access TV. What I'd like to follow up with is, I am chair of Committee on Committees. I would love to see new faces. I would love to see new faces being more involved in the town's decision. This is your town. The decisions are for you. If you don't come out and make them known, we do not know about them. I will reiterate my email address. My town email address is scalhoun, CALHOUN, @bloomfieldct.org. I would love to hear from you. I would love to know what your ideas are, but it's very important that you get involved with our town. Thank you and good night.
Thank you. I just want to commend the soccer coach for coming out tonight in regards to the lightings on the field. I think this is an item that we can take up in Finance Committee to discuss how we could assist in getting those lights in any way. So, hopefully we can get something going to help out our kids in the town. I just want to comment in regards to the town attorney. I think it's important, I've said this in the past, that the town attorney attends both meetings and be present at both meetings, not at the latter part of the meeting, just because we deal with a lot of issues here and sometimes they're legal matters, and to get an opinion from the town attorney, I think will be of value to the councils on the spot to have Mr. Needleman present at those 2 council meetings per month here at the beginning of the meetings. Another item that I think it's important, I don't think the manager brought it up tonight, but we do have a finance committee meeting on the 21st of this month, and one of the major item on that agenda is discussion about the school's finance. I know they are in need, and as a town, we can't afford to let our schools fall to the wayside. So there is a substantial need that the schools are requesting, and I'm asking everyone to come out and engage in that conversation. And I think this council, I hope we're quoting Martin Luther King and everything, we're talking about action, and our kids in this town are in need, and we have to do everything possible to make sure that we're providing those financial needs to our students. So I'm happy that everyone is in that spirit, but we need action to make sure that we execute on Dr. King's dream. Okay, thank you.
I was waiting, Madam Mayor.
Everybody else was just going.
I was waiting my turn patiently.
Thank you very much, Councilman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, everybody. So there were a couple things happening in Bloomfield that I wanted to point out because I didn't, hear it yet, and maybe I will, but two new places have opened in Bloomfield. So first, there's a Dunkin' Donuts, and I haven't been to it yet.
Great.
It's off of Cottage Grove Road.
Very convenient.
Very convenient.
Very convenient.
And I believe the Capaco location closed, and now the Cottage Grove one is open, so be sure to check out that. The other place that's opened is the Chosen One Seafood Restaurant, and that is right down the street here on Park Avenue in the plaza where Elizabeth's Restaurant is and the Liberty Bank and the Park Avenue Dry Cleaners. So they are now open officially. I don't know if they've had their grand opening yet. I don't think so, but they are opened, and I haven't been, but I will get there very soon. So did want to mention those two places. One disappointment that I had, and I heard just a little bit about it tonight from the Public Service Committee, or I'm sorry, did I get that wrong? The Community Services Committee. Or no, maybe it wasn't that one. It was Public Safety, thank you. So the shots that were fired at Capaco in the last couple of weeks or whatever, so I was kind of disappointed in hearing that, and I do hope that the public is aware of this and takes all necessary precaution when you're out shopping, and just be looking around and know where you are and know your area that's around you. And I do hope that if anyone in the public has information that could lead to the arrest or the apprehension of the individuals who might have been involved in that, to come forward and see our chief here at the police department. I believe Bloomfield is a safe town, and I was just very saddened to hear that actually took place in our town, because I typically regard us to be very safe and feel secure here, and I would like people to continue to feel that way. And I think we have a terrific police department, we have a great chief, and we have great community servants. So please reach out to them at any time you want to. The other thing I wanted to mention is our Philly Park co-chairs. I really want to thank them for being here tonight. So June O'Connor, I know they've left, and Roseanne Azarian, who were both here at the beginning under presentations and announcements, to talk about Philly Park and the work that's yet to be done there. So as you heard tonight, although we've made a substantial amount of progress, there is still significant work to be done on both sides of the pond. The parking lot needs to be completed, the center island needs to be completed, the meditation area, the park for the kids, etc. The trails behind the park are on the other side. When you cross over the bridge, there are a lot of trails back there that need to be maintained and opened back up for part of the rebirth of Philly Park. So I really want to thank Roseanne and June for being out tonight, and I'm sure you're going to continue to hear from Philly Park, and you'll continue to hear from me as their liaison to the town council. And the upcoming budget season is quite near. As you heard tonight, we approved the schedule of meetings beginning in March. So please, if you are interested in Philly Park rebirth and you are interested in seeing the park completed, Please come to the public meetings that will be held in March, and the agendas will be published, so you'll know when we're talking about the capital improvement program and all the various projects that will be listed and those that will be approved to move forward. So also, if you're interested in seeing the progress in Philly Park, besides driving by it and taking a good look at it, you can go to phillypark.org, and there you will see photos and information detailing things that are happening at the park. So I think that's it. I think I agree with Councilor Pilatus' comments. You know, I think it would have made things a lot easier had we had Attorney Needleman here tonight, but I certainly do support him and the work he's done for the town. And, you know, I think moving forward, we can work with him to, you know, make changes as suggested by some of our fellow councilors tonight. So I look forward to that as well. I think that is it for now, and I hope everybody gets to see tonight's championship game. It's on at, well, now, so. Clemson and LSU are playing tonight, so. All right, have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. I did go to the Chosen One Seafood Restaurant yesterday. Really good. Please go. Please visit. I took my children. They loved it. Yeah, it was super good. Let's see. You know, just want to thank the gentleman that came out here to advocate for the soccer fields as well as Rockville basketball courts. The soccer fields, from what I understand, the lights are in the budget proposal from Parks and Recs, and I would hope that we would really consider moving that forward from this group here. Thank you for coming out and those comments, and I do coach soccer, so I do really relate to that and the need, and I do support that. Rockville basketball courts, there have been a huge group of residents that have been voicing their opinions to me, and they are really offended by the condition of those courts. And I think everyone on here knows how I feel about Rockville basketball courts. This is, I think, the only premier location. It's a double court in Bloomfield, and I would challenge this group to respond to those concerns with creative ways to respond financially as we move forward in budget season. I know that there is resurfacing in the plan for Parks and Recs, but I think that we should do a little more due diligence, dig a little harder, flush it out a little more, and see what we can do, even if it means pushing out the timeline for these courts. So I would just ask that we take a deeper look when it is budget season. I think those were the main comments. I think I was very vocal earlier. Just to point out, Martin was becoming very much like Malcolm in his ideologies towards the end of his career. So just wanted to make sure that we all knew that. And I will end my council comment with a quote like I typically do. If not you, then who? If not now, then when? Kate Farrar. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First, I'd like to follow up on a comment that Councilman DiLorenzo brought out about the shooting at Capaco. I don't mean to alarm citizens sitting on the Public Service Committee. We have met with the chief on a monthly basis, and he tells us that our town is one of the safest in the areas. Statistics show that, the drop in crime shows that. This was a strange occurrence. It happened between two individuals who were messing with each other. They both have